The first signs came not with a bang, but with an anomaly in the Kuiper Belt. Dr. Sarah Chen was reviewing data from the James Webb II telescope when she noticed the object. Too fast for a comet, too controlled for space debris. Its trajectory curved gracefully around Pluto's orbit, bleeding velocity in a way that defied natural physics. "Computer, run spectrographic analysis," she commanded, leaning forward in her chair at the Mauna Kea Observatory. The results made her breath catch. The object's surface was composed of materials that didn't exist in any known database. Within hours, every major telescope on and around Earth swiveled to track the visitor. The object continued its controlled deceleration, clearly artificial and clearly headed for Earth. Global militaries went on high alert, but the object's small size, barely larger than a school bus, suggested it wasn't a weapon of war. 72 hours after its detection, the probe settled into a stable orbit around Earth's moon. That's when it began to sing. The signal was beautiful in its elegance, pure mathematical patterns that any sufficiently advanced civilization would recognize as artificial. Within the patterns lay a message, one that would change humanity forever. We are the Meridians. We bring knowledge. We seek allies. We offer hope. The decryption took weeks, but the probe was patient. As humanity decoded each layer of data, they discovered increasingly sophisticated scientific and technological information. Quantum mechanics far beyond current human understanding, blueprints for faster-than-light communication, and antimatter containment systems that could revolutionize energy production. But it was the biological samples that truly captured humanity's attention. Stored in sophisticated stasis chambers were cell cultures from the Meridians themselves, crystalline-based life forms that had evolved in the high-pressure depths of their ocean world. The message continued. Our civilization spans 12 star systems. We have watched your species' development through your radio emissions and digital signals. You are young, but your rate of technological advancement is unprecedented. We believe you may be able to help us, and in turn, help yourselves. Dr. Chen worked alongside an international team of scientists to study the probe's contents. Each discovery led to more questions. Each answer revealed new mysteries. But it was the final data packet that made their blood run cold. Long-range scans from Meridian outposts had detected something massive moving through the galaxy, something that devoured light itself. The Void Striders, as the Meridians called them, were a hive-mind species that had evolved in the space between stars. They consumed energy in all its forms, from solar radiation to the electromagnetic fields of planets, and they were methodically eliminating any civilization advanced enough to pose a potential threat. We detected them too late. The message continued. They have already consumed 2 of our colony worlds. Our technology cannot harm them effectively. But we have observed your species' unique approach to problem solving, your ability to innovate in ways we cannot predict. Together, we believe we might stand a chance. The probe carried detailed specifications of Meridian technology, faster-than-light communications, energy shields, and weapon systems. But more importantly, it carried their trust and their hope. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session. Military leaders argued for caution, politicians demanded action, and scientists pleaded for more time to study the probe's contents. But as they debated, automated telescopes detected new anomalies at the edge of the solar system. Massive gravitational distortions that suggested the Void Striders were closer than anyone had realized. Dr. Chen stood before the Security Council, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "The Meridians chose us for a reason," she declared, projecting images of human technological advancement throughout history. "We've gone from first flight to landing on the moon in just 66 years, from basic computers to quantum networks in less than a century. We adapt. We innovate. We solve problems in ways that even more advanced civilizations haven't considered." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The Meridians have given us the tools, their most advanced technology, their trust, and their hope. Now we have a choice to make. We can hide and wait for the Void Striders to find us, or we can stand and fight, not just for ourselves, but for every species that values life and light in this galaxy. The vote was unanimous. Within days, the greatest technological mobilization in human history began. Meridian blueprints were distributed to research facilities worldwide. Quantum computers began analyzing the Void Strider's energy consumption patterns, looking for weaknesses. Engineers started adapting Meridian shield technology to work with human spacecraft designs. But even as humanity raced to prepare, a simple truth emerged. They weren't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to prove that the Meridian's faith in humanity hadn't been misplaced. The galaxy was about to learn why you never underestimate human determination or human ingenuity. In her lab, Dr. Chen studied the crystalline structure of Meridian cells under an electron microscope, her mind already racing with possibilities. The Void Striders consumed energy, but perhaps that very hunger could be turned against them. She began typing furiously, calling up simulations of experimental quantum field generators. Sometimes the best defense was a good offense, and humanity was about to show the galaxy exactly what offense meant. The quantum displays in Dr. Chen's laboratory pulsed with an otherworldly light as the Meridian data crystals revealed their secrets. 3 months had passed since first contact, and humanity's understanding of advanced physics had progressed by decades. But with each new discovery came a darker revelation about the threat they faced. "Play the intercept again," she instructed the AI assistant. A holographic projection materialized, showing the final moments of a Meridian colony world. The recording, transmitted through their faster-than-light communication network, showed massive shadow-like entities descending from orbit. Where they touched, energy simply ceased to exist. Solar panels went dark. Power grids failed. Even the bioelectric fields of living beings dimmed and vanished. Commander David Rodriguez of the newly formed Earth Defense Force stood beside her, his face grim. "How many casualties?" 8 million Meridians," Chen replied, her voice tight. "The entire colony. The Void Striders don't just consume technology. They feed on any organized energy pattern. Life itself is just another meal to them." The commander nodded, studying the tactical displays that surrounded them. Earth's military forces have been unified under a single banner for the first time in history, driven by the existential threat that approached. Shipyards in orbit constructed vessels that incorporated Meridian shield technology with human weapons systems. But would it be enough? "We found something interesting in their feeding patterns," Chen continued, pulling up new data streams. "The Void Striders don't just consume energy randomly. They're attracted to specific frequencies, particularly the kind produced by advanced civilizations. It's why they've been systematically hunting down spacefaring species." Rodriguez leaned forward, his military mind spotting the tactical implications immediately. "So we could potentially use that as bait. Set a trap." "Better." Chen's fingers danced across the holographic controls. "We've been analyzing the crystalline structure of Meridian biology. Their cells generate quantum fields that the Void Striders can't process. It's why some of their technology still works even during an attack. If we can adapt that principle to human technology." The implications were staggering. Humanity had spent centuries developing ways to generate and control energy. Now they needed to learn how to hide it, to make it unpalatable to an enemy that hunted through the electromagnetic spectrum itself. In orbital shipyards, the first prototype vessels were taking shape. They weren't just warships. They were testing grounds for new theories about energy manipulation and quantum field generation. Human engineers worked alongside AI systems that interpreted Meridian technical data, creating hybrid technologies that neither species had imagined before. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a specialist in biological computing, noticed something peculiar about human brain patterns. Unlike artificial systems, organic minds generated energy in chaotic, almost random patterns. The Void Striders, despite their immense power, seemed to prefer organized energy sources. The more ordered and efficient, the better. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose that's spraying in random directions, Tanaka explained to the Earth Defense Council. We don't need to stop them from feeding. We need to make the energy so chaotic that they can't process it efficiently. The council chamber erupted in discussion as military leaders and scientists debated the implications. But Chen was already thinking ahead, her mind racing with possibilities. If they could combine meridian quantum field technology with human-style chaos theory, new designs were drafted. Instead of trying to create perfect energy shields, human engineers began developing systems that deliberately introduced controlled chaos into their power signatures. Weapons were modified to fire not just physical projectiles, but waves of unpredictable quantum disturbance that could disrupt the Void Strider's feeding patterns. But time was running out. Long-range sensors, enhanced with Meridian technology, detected the Void Striders approaching neighboring star systems. They weren't just a random threat anymore. They were methodically working their way toward Earth and the remaining Meridian worlds. Commander Rodriguez stood at the window of the Orbital Command Center, watching the construction of Earth's defense fleet. How long do we have? Chen checked the latest data streams. 8 months, maybe less. They're moving faster than the Meridians predicted. Either they're getting stronger, or they know we're working with the Meridians, Rodriguez finished. They're coming to eliminate both threats at once. The implications were clear. Humanity couldn't just focus on defending Earth. They needed to project power across interstellar distances to stand alongside their Meridian allies. The combined fleet would need to be ready not just to fight, but to take the battle to the enemy. In labs and factories around the world, humanity's greatest minds worked tirelessly. Meridian quantum technology was merged with human chaos theory to create weapons that could actually harm the seemingly invulnerable Void Striders. New forms of propulsion were tested, combining human nuclear fusion with Meridian space-folding techniques. But their greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the unpredictability of human nature itself. While the Meridians approached problems with logical precision, humans had millennia of experience in thinking outside conventional boundaries, in finding ways to win even when outgunned and outnumbered. The Void Striders were about to learn that consuming energy was one thing. Dealing with the chaotic, innovative, relentlessly determined human spirit was another matter entirely. The orbital shipyards of Earth blazed with continuous activity, vast construction platforms weaving massive vessels from advanced composites and quantum-hardened alloys. 6 months had passed since the Meridian Warning, and humanity's response had transformed the space around their homeworld into a testament to their industrial might. Dr. Chen stood on the observation deck of the EDF command station, watching as the latest battleship took shape. The vessel's hull incorporated Meridian crystalline patterns that could disrupt the Void Strider's energy-draining abilities, while its core housed human-designed chaos engines that generated unpredictable energy signatures. The Hyperion is almost ready for trials, Commander Rodriguez announced, joining her at the window. The massive ship represented humanity's most ambitious military project, a perfect fusion of human and Meridian technology. But we're still having problems with the quantum field generators. Chen nodded, pulling up diagnostic data on her neural interface. The Meridian crystals weren't designed to handle the level of chaos our systems generate. We're pushing them beyond their theoretical limits. That was the story across the entire defense program. Humanity wasn't just adapting alien technology. They were reinventing it, pushing boundaries that even the Meridians hadn't explored. While their alien allies excelled at precision and efficiency, humans had millennia of experience in breaking rules and finding unconventional solutions. Deep in the Kuiper Belt, automated factories converted asteroids into warships and ammunition. The resources of an entire solar system were being mobilized for war. But the most important battles were happening in laboratories and testing facilities across Earth. At the Quantum Warfare Center in Nevada, Dr. Tanaka's team had made a breakthrough. They discovered a way to weaponize the very chaos that made human consciousness unique. "Watch this," she said, activating a test chamber. Inside, a sample of Void Strider material, recovered from a destroyed Meridian world, was exposed to waves of chaotic quantum energy. The otherworldly substance writhed and contracted, unable to process the randomized energy patterns. More importantly, it couldn't adapt to defend against them. Every burst of chaos followed different patterns, making it impossible for the hive mind to develop countermeasures. "We've cracked their defense mechanism," Tanaka explained to the assembled military leaders. "The Void Striders evolved to consume ordered energy patterns. Their entire biology is built around efficiency and predictability, but introduce enough chaos into their feeding patterns." Marine Corps General Sarah Hassan had spent her career studying asymmetric warfare, how smaller forces could defeat numerically superior enemies. "We're thinking too conventionally," she argued during a strategy session. "The Void Striders expect organized resistance, formation battles, predictable tactics, so let's give them something they've never seen before." Her proposal was radical. Instead of meeting the Void Striders in traditional space combat, the human fleet would fight like guerrilla warriors on an interstellar scale. Ships would operate in small, autonomous groups, striking from unexpected vectors with constantly changing tactics. The chaos wouldn't just be in their weapons, it would be fundamental to their entire strategy. The Meridians, monitoring Earth's preparations through their FTL communication network, were both impressed and bewildered by humanity's approach. Their own military doctrine emphasized precision and coordination. The human tendency to embrace chaos and uncertainty was alien to their crystalline minds. But they couldn't argue with the results. In simulated encounters, human tactics consistently performed better against Void Strider attacks than traditional Meridian strategies. The hive mind simply couldn't adapt fast enough to counter human unpredictability. As the deadline approached, the combined fleet took shape. Meridian ships, sleek and precise, would provide long-range support and coordination. Human vessels, bristling with chaos weapons and operating with controlled randomness, would form the primary strike force. Dr. Chen stood in the command center of the Hyperion during its shakedown cruise, watching as the crew ran battle drills. The ship's AI merged seamlessly with human operators, creating a hybrid system that could react faster than either species alone. Quantum field generators hummed with barely contained chaos, ready to turn the ship's energy emissions into a weapon against the very beings that fed on power. "Final fleet status report," Rodriguez announced, studying the tactical displays. "Over 200 major warships have been completed, supported by thousands of smaller craft." It was the largest military force humanity had ever assembled. And it might not be enough. But numbers weren't everything. The Void Striders had never faced an enemy that embraced chaos as a weapon. They'd never encountered a species that could turn their own feeding patterns against them. And they'd never dealt with the sheer, stubborn determination of humanity fighting not just for survival, but for their allies. The final countdown had begun. Long-range sensors detected the Void Strider fleet approaching the outer solar system. Humanity's moment of truth was approaching, and they would meet it with every weapon, every strategy, and every ounce of ingenuity they possessed. The galaxy was about to learn why you never corner a species that had spent its entire history overcoming impossible odds. The first battle began in the darkness beyond Neptune's orbit. The Void Striders emerged from interstellar space like living shadows, their massive forms distorting the light of distant stars. Long-range sensors showed them for what they were: vast, energy-consuming entities that existed as much in higher dimensions as in normal space. From the command deck of the Hyperion, Dr. Chen watched as tactical displays showed the enemy's approach. The combined human Meridian fleet had scattered throughout the outer solar system, hiding among asteroids and planetary rings, waiting to execute their unconventional strategy. "All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt," Commander Rodriguez ordered. Instead of forming a traditional battle line, Earth's vessels moved in seemingly random patterns, their chaos engines generating unpredictable energy signatures that confused the Void Strider's senses. The first engagement proved the effectiveness of human tactics. A squadron of destroyers, led by Captain Maya Wong, emerged from Saturn's rings firing their chaos cannons. The quantum-disrupted energy struck a void strider, causing its ethereal form to convulse as it tried to process the chaotic patterns. Direct hit confirmed, Wong reported, her ship's already changing course in an erratic pattern. The target is showing signs of distress. It can't adapt to the randomized attack vectors. But the void striders weren't helpless. One of the massive entities swept toward Wong's squadron, its energy-draining field extending like a net. 2 destroyers failed to evade in time. Their power systems went dark as the creature consumed their energy, but even this fed into the human strategy. Now, Rodriguez commanded. The disabled ship's reactor cores detonated in carefully controlled chaos-enhanced explosions. The void strider that had consumed their energy recoiled, its form disrupted by the unpredictable patterns released in the blast. Meridian vessels, coordinating with precise efficiency, took advantage of the creature's confusion. Their crystalline-based weapons fired in perfect synchronization, creating geometric patterns of destructive energy that trapped the wounded entity. It was the perfect combination of human chaos and Meridian order. The battle spread across the solar system. Human ships fought like ancient guerrilla warriors, striking from hidden positions with constantly changing tactics. Each attack incorporated random elements that prevented the hive mind from developing effective countermeasures. Dr. Tanaka's chaos theory weapons proved devastatingly effective. The quantum disruptors didn't just damage the void striders. They infected them with patterns of disorder that spread through their higher dimensional forms like a virus. The very act of trying to consume the chaotic energy made them more vulnerable to it. But the enemy was far from defeated. The massive void strider, larger than the others, led a direct assault on the main fleet concentration near Uranus. Its energy-draining field was powerful enough to affect ships even through their quantum shields. All ships, execute Protocol Omega. General Hassan's voice cut through the tactical channels. The human fleet responded with a maneuver that would have been impossible for any other military force. Every ship activated its chaos engines at maximum power, but with deliberately misaligned frequencies. The resulting quantum interference pattern created a web of unpredictable energy that the void striders couldn't process. It was like trying to drink from 1,000 fire hoses, each spraying in random directions with constantly changing pressure. The Meridian ships, protected by their crystalline technology, added their own precise attacks to the chaos. The combination proved too much for even the largest void strider. Its form began to break apart, unable to maintain coherence in the face of such disorder. But victory came at a cost. 20 human ships and 5 Meridian vessels had been destroyed. The surviving crews had witnessed the true horror of the void striders' feeding process, the way they consumed not just energy, but the very essence of technological civilization. They're retreating, Rodriguez announced, tracking the enemy's movement on long-range sensors. The remaining void striders were pulling back, their hive mind apparently unable to devise a strategy against such unpredictable opponents. Chen studied the sensor data with intense focus. They're not just retreating, they're adapting. Look at their energy patterns. They're trying to develop defenses against our chaos weapons. It was a crucial observation. The first battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The void striders would return, and next time they would be better prepared for humanity's unconventional tactics. But humanity would be ready too. Already, engineers were analyzing battle data, developing new weapons and strategies. The quantum chaos generators would be refined, the tactics evolved. Every engagement would bring new innovations, new ways of combining human unpredictability with Meridian precision. As the fleet regrouped and began repairs, Dr. Chen couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had faced its first major test against an interstellar threat, and they had proven themselves worthy allies to the Meridians. More importantly, they had shown that their unique approach to warfare, their ability to embrace and weaponize chaos itself, could change the very nature of cosmic conflict. The Void Striders had come expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they had encountered a species that turned their greatest weapon against them, that fought with controlled disorder and planned randomness. They had learned what so many others would come to know, that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their numbers, but their ability to innovate, to adapt, and to turn apparent weaknesses into unexpected advantages. The next battle would be even harder, but Earth's defenders would be ready, armed with new theories of quantum chaos and an unshakable determination to protect both their world and their alien allies. 3 days after the first battle, the Void Striders returned in force. Their swarm had doubled in size, with new variants that showed signs of adaptation to human chaos weapons. But this time, they faced a combined fleet that had learned from experience and prepared accordingly. Dr. Chen stood at her station on the Hyperion's bridge, monitoring quantum field readings as the enemy approached. "They've modified their energy absorption patterns," she reported. "They're trying to process our chaos emissions more efficiently." Commander Rodriguez nodded grimly. "Just as we expected. General Hassan, commence Operation Hydra." The human fleet split into smaller task forces, each operating with seemingly erratic patterns. But beneath the apparent disorder lay a new level of strategy. Every random movement, every chaotic energy burst, was part of a larger pattern, one too complex for even the hive mind to predict. "All ships, execute quantum protocols on my mark." Dr. Tanaka's voice came through the command channel. The scientist had developed a new weapon theory during the brief respite, one that would turn the Void Striders' adaptations against them. The battle began with a massive energy surge from the Meridian vessels. Their crystalline weapons fired in precise, mathematical patterns that drew the Void Striders' attention. The enemy entities surged forward, eager to feed on such organized power. "They took the bait," Hassan announced. "All human ships, initiate Chaos Cascade." What followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Each human vessel activated its chaos engines in a carefully orchestrated sequence of disorder. The quantum disruption spread through space like a wave, but instead of a single pattern, it was thousands of different patterns overlapping and interfering with each other. The Void Striders, having adapted to process simple chaos, found themselves overwhelmed by the complexity. Their attempt to consume the energy backfired as the overlapping patterns created quantum resonances within their higher dimensional forms. "Direct hit on the primary target," Captain Wong reported. Her squadron had executed a perfect flanking maneuver, catching a massive Void Strider in a crossfire of chaos-enhanced weapons. The entity is showing signs of quantum collapse. The battle raged across the solar system, but this time humanity held the upper hand. Every time the Void Striders adapted to one form of attack, the human ships would switch to another, their tactics changing faster than the hive mind could respond. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as she studied the sensor readings. "Commander, look at this. The quantum disruption is spreading through their neural network. They're losing their ability to coordinate." The Meridian fleet, recognizing the opportunity, executed their own masterful strategy. Their ships formed precise geometric formations, creating energy patterns that herded the increasingly confused Void Striders into prepared killing zones. "All ships, prepare for final phase," Rodriguez ordered. The Hyperion's engines roared to life, driving the massive vessel toward the heart of the enemy formation. "Dr. Chen, is the quantum resonator ready?" "Charged and targeting," she confirmed. The device represented humanity's greatest achievement in chaos theory weapons, a system that could generate quantum interference patterns on a stellar scale. The Hyperion plunged into the midst of the Void Strider swarm, its shields blazing with chaotic energy. Around it, human and Meridian ships moved in perfect coordination, creating a pocket of relative calm in the storm of battle. "Now," Rodriguez commanded. The quantum resonator activated, releasing a burst of energy that defied conventional physics. It wasn't just chaos. It was organized chaos, patterns within patterns, each layer designed to disrupt the Void Strider's ability to process energy on a fundamental level. The effect was catastrophic for the enemy. The hive mind's neural network shattered under the quantum assault. Individual void striders, cut off from the collective consciousness, found themselves unable to maintain their higher dimensional forms. Multiple entities breaking up, Wong reported, her voice tight with contained excitement. The swarm is losing cohesion. They're retreating. But retreat wasn't enough. The quantum disruption had spread too far, infected too much of their collective consciousness. As the human and Meridian fleets watched, the mighty Void Striders, beings that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, began to dissolve into quantum static. Hours later, in the Hyperion's conference room, Dr. Chen presented her analysis to the combined fleet command. The quantum resonance has permanently altered their neural network, she explained. Even if some survive, they won't be able to reform their hive mind. The threat is over. The victory celebration spanned 2 civilizations. Meridian ships transmitted messages of gratitude and amazement, their crystalline communication arrays pulsing with colors that represented joy in their culture. Human crews cheered and embraced, knowing they had faced an interstellar nightmare and emerged triumphant. But perhaps the most significant moment came during the formal alliance ceremony between Earth and the Meridian worlds. The alien ambassador, its crystalline form shimmering with respect, addressed the assembled human leaders.